Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In today's video, let's talk about a repainting. I see this question come up many times in comments and conversations, and a lot of people ask whether certain script repaints or not. Whenever I hear this question, the first impression I have is that person who is asking this question doesn't know anything about repainting. That's actually okay. We don't know about a lot of things, and we always admit that. But I also feel that the person who is asking this question do not want to learn what is repainting and how to identify that, but he just wants someone else to tell him that whether something repaints or not. They would have heard that from someone saying repainting is bad or impacts your trading. So they just want to know whether it is happening or not and avoid it or stay away from such things, right? This is not really a helpful mindset because repainting means it doesn't always impact trading, and sometimes knowing that there's a repainting is useful, even though you can use continue using those indicators. For example, things like zigzag, the last pivot always repaints, right? So you don't use this zigzag for trading, you use zigzag for pattern recognition, right? So last pivot always repaints, but if you ask me if any of my zigzag indicator repaints, then what should I tell? So if I tell yes, the last pivot repaints, then you don't know what it means, and you think that okay, this repaints, so let's not use this guy's script because he may develop all the repainting things, so I'll go away from him. So that's why sometimes what happens is script authors may also say, may not say directly that something repaints if you ask them. And also, even if they say it repaints, it will not give you a clear picture on what actually repaints and how it impacts your trading. So my suggestion is not to ask this question, but try to find it out yourself whether whether an indicator repaints or not. Okay, let's say in this video, what we'll do, we'll try to find out different types of repainting, and we'll see how to avoid them and how to find them, and a bit about coding, like guidelines on how to um, develop something which doesn't repaint. Okay, so first of all, the repainting, before understanding types of repainting, we also want to know what is repainting, right? So some people think that a failed trade is a repaint. A failed trade is not a repaint. Okay, so if a trade fails, it's a failed trade, and any method you take, there will always be failed trade, and that's not called as repainting and should not be called as repainting, right? Repainting is something like a indicator or a signal changes its states based on conditions, right? And it doesn't give you a confirmed signal. It changes based on intrabar candle movement or based on few other things. Okay, so the first type of repainting is the intrabar related ones, and they're mainly non-security repainting, right? So intrabar, what happens is, if you look at RSI here, the last bar is always moving because this particular bar is not confirmed. The RSI was value is also moving, keep moving up and down. So it means that, see, you can see that the signal came up here, but if a RSI goes back up, then the signal will disappear. So if you put your trading decision based on unconfirmed bar, then it's likely that it will repaint, right? Because you got the signal here, but if price moves up, then there is no signal. You are in a trade, but there is no signal, right? This signal is inconsistent. So that's why this can be considered as a repaint. But the takeaway here is how to avoid this is, like, if something is happening, do not build anything based on the last unconfirmed pivot for your trading decision. Always build things based on the previous pivot. Even our strategies, what it does is it only considers confirmed bar for any calculations, unless you check for options such as calculate on every tick, recalculate on every tick, etc. right? So that's why the first way of avoiding this kind of repaints which are based on the current bar which is moving is not to use the unconfirmed bar values, use the confirmed values of the previous bar, right? And the second type of repainting is security based repainting, which is future leak. Like sometimes what happens when when you're using request security is it will what it will do is, there is a bit of future leak. Like in the back test it always knows what is the future price based on the security. For example, you're running a strategy on 1 hour and using a daily time frame, higher time frame values for some validation. So if you do not take particular precautions, what happens is the backtest already knows today's highest price and lowest price before that even happened, right? For example, if you look at this script, daily close repainting result, if you look at the script, he clearly he doesn't have much explanation, but it says that this is a repainting script cheating on tester. On back testing, it gives 100% correct result, but on forward testing, only 15% are correct. Right. So if you look at this script, you feel like everything is green. It's great, great value, very less drawdown, and a lot of profit, etc. But when you try to use that, you may not find the similar results. So, for example, come back to this, and if I look at 1 hour, you see perfect signals here, buy and sell at best places possible. But how to find this, like whether it's leaking or not, it's whether it's there's a future leak or not. What we'll do, we'll place some markers on all the trades where it happened, right? So there are two short signals and these three long signals, right? And then what we'll do is we'll try to do bar replay, right? Just replay, right? And then try to the bar replay. What happens is, it will run the candle as if it's happening now, right? So we'll try to run these candles now, and we should expect the signals at the same places. If the signals come up in the same places as mentioned here, then there is no repaint. Or if the signal doesn't come up in the same places, then it means that there can be repaint, right? If you look at this, there's a repaint here. There's no repaint here because the signal appeared as expected. But if you come further, there is no signal here. There used to be one when everything is completed, but there is nothing here. So this signal repainted actually. This is a repainted signal. So this that came up after we got the complete day's data, right? So go further and you get a signal there. So this signal which is supposed to come here, it came up here. That means that it gave away some of the profit. Even though this trade is a profitable, it's not as profitable as when it repainted. Right now, let's wait for the long signal, but there is no long signal, right? So the long signal came here instead of here. So that resulted in a failed trade, I think. So now, further, if you go further, there is no short signal. Oh, there is a short signal there. It went well. Oh, there's a long signal here. There is nothing here in the after the confirm chart, but there's a long signal here. There's a short signal here again. This signal is already there before. That's not a repaint, but there are two repaints here. So that's how you understand whether it's a repainting on as based on a security feature lake. If the replay bar, when you're replaying, the signals doesn't match the signal when replay is done, then it means that there is a repaint involved. But you cannot use this method to test the repainting on non-security based ones are the current bar based repainting. For current bar based repainting ones, you always need to look at the forward testing. right? So if you sit on 1 hour chat, it may take too much time. So maybe push to 1 minute and observe the signals which is appearing. And if the signals appear and disappear, that kind of thing happens. That's likely repainting. Otherwise, if they are consistent, if you think they are consistent, then they may be good to follow, right? Right, and so we discussed about two types of repainting and how to identify them. And also there are, if you're a programmer and if you want to develop strategies or code which doesn't repaint, some materials to look for is are these things. There is this reference manual. You look for repainting, search for repainting, and you see lots of variables which comes with the indication saying that using this may result in repainting, indicator repainting. And also there is user manual where you can just search for repainting, and there is a full chapter on repainting, different types of repainting and how to avoid them programmatically, etc. Okay, and also there are some scripts from Pine coders which are very handy to understand the repainting concepts. So look for, say, painting security repainting, and you'll see these two scripts, example scripts. You can study them to get a better understanding of how to develop a code which doesn't repaint. Okay. Finally, some people asked questions on my some of my previous indicator, for example, ECG, electrocardiogram chart, whether this repaints. Again, if you look at this, this is not really a trading indicator. It's a graphical representation of candles. So the repainting doesn't really matter for such kind of things because it's not giving you any buy or sell signals. So it is just trying to represent a candle in a different way. So there is no even though there is the last candle keeps moving, it's not considered as repainting, or we should it's considered as harmless repainting, so you should not be worried about these things. So the repainting only matters when it impacts your trading decisions, so just keep this in mind. So that's the reason why it's necessary to test each of the things, each of the indicator scripts which you're going to use, and identify whether there is a repainting yourself. Okay, hope this helped a lot. Let me know if you have any questions. And thanks very much for watching this video. Bye.